Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. Allincrypto here, and today we're going to be delivering another daily cryptocurrency market update. And if you are new around here, every single day at 1 p.m. UK time, we release an update just like this one to help you guys stay up to date with the latest and greatest things happening within the cryptocurrency space and also the markets. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing in this one. We're going to start things off with looking at Jerome Powell's speech yesterday. Bit of forward guidance there. I do think he was very hawkish. And then we are, staying on the topic of the Fed, going to be looking at a document that they published called Tokenization, an overview and financial stability implications. Very, very interesting article. I'll do a full write-up on this over at allincrypto.com. JP Morgan also released something the other day titled The Digitalization of Trade is Underway in the UK. Stay tuned. And then we're going to be looking at Larry Fink actually attending Sergey Nazarov, who's the CEO and co-founder of Chainlink, speech over, and I think they're in Spain right now, which is a big, big deal. He was center stage. And then, of course, we're going to be looking at some price action, some charts, and then we'll finish things off on a bit of a low note with Gary Gensler. Don't you just love waking up to some of your altcoins being up 50%? Overnight, we've actually had some pretty big moves in some of our altcoins that we have in our portfolio. One was actually up 50% at one point. It's around about 30% up currently. And this is what happens when you have very low volatility. Volatility is very low. You can get a very big move off of it. If you want to find out what we're buying, where we're buying, please do consider becoming a Patreon. We do genuinely believe, certainly we sheltered a lot of people from the storm that was 2022, that 2023 is going to set us up for the rest of our lives, and we've accumulated accordingly. And you can find out what, where, by becoming a Patreon, and also get access to courses and exclusive content. We've got 2 early release interviews out there that are coming out in the next week or so. So do consider checking out the Patreon. So let's get into it all, guys. Yesterday, of course, you had Jerome Powell's speech. The stock market closed down on the back end of it. Crypto's showing some relative strength against the likes of what do we got here? This is gold, the stock market. It's kind of bouncing a little bit in perhaps a bit of a descending pattern, which could lead to a pop to the upside. The stock market, of course, closed down. S&P, which we think, we've looked at the scenario, it could take a longer rest, could come down and find that and kiss that 30 weekly moving average. Or it could just continue to go. This is a bull environment, and we have been one of the only channels, not just on crypto, but when it comes to the stock market, that's been calling bull now for the past nearly 10 months. We are just waiting, very much for crypto to set up. The dollar saw a bit of a nice time actually off what Jerome Powell said. And what we're going to do is we're going to go and take a quick look at the clip of him talking about forward guidance for rate hikes. They've very much reiterated they're going to play it by ear. And he was a hawk. There's no way he can be a dove in this kind of where they're currently at with inflation doing what it's doing. And it's definitely raising its head. Nat gas looks like it wants to run. Oil, very strong. You could see potentially $100 barrel crude again. So we'll dive into that. I did expect them not to raise rates. I don't think that was a hard call. However, I do think that there's definitely the potential for another rate hike between now and the end of the year. And then he sort of adjusted, them cutting rates in 2024 by about 50 basis points in regards to not 3 rate hikes, maybe 2. And then moving forwards, I think they're expecting inflation to come down to 2% by 2026, which I don't know where they get these estimates from, but, that's the Federal Reserve. Let's dive into the clip of Jerome Powell, just a quick one, and then we'll continue on with the video.
Most likely scenario going forward. If the economy evolves as projected, the median participant projects that the appropriate level of the federal funds rate will be 5.6% at the end of this year, 5.1% at the end of 2024, and 3.9% at the end of 2025. Compared with our June summary of economic projections, the median projection is unrevised for the end of this year, but has moved up by a half percentage point at the end of the next 2 years. These projections, of course, are not a committee's decision or plan. If the economy does not evolve as projected, the path of policy will adjust as appropriate to foster our maximum employment and price stability goals. We will continue to make our decisions meeting by meeting based on the totality of the incoming data and their implications for the outlook for economic activity and inflation, as well as the balance of risks. Given how far we have come, we are in a position to proceed carefully as we assess the incoming data and the evolving outlook and risks. Real interest rates now are well above mainstream estimates of the neutral policy rate, but we are mindful of the inherent uncertainties in precisely gauging the stance of policy. We're prepared to raise rates further if appropriate, and we intend to hold policy at a restrictive level until we're confident that inflation is moving down sustainably toward our objective. In determining the extent of additional policy firming that may be appropriate to return inflation to 2% over time, the committee will take into account the cumulative tightening of monetary policy, the lags with which monetary policy affects economic activity and inflation, and economic and financial developments. We remain committed to bringing inflation back down to our 2% goal and to keeping longer-term inflation expectations well anchored. Reducing inflation is likely to require a period of below-trend growth and some softening of labor market conditions.
We'll leave that there. It's a lot of what we've already heard. But I guess it's good to sort of recap, and he's giving forward guidance, which is that, inflation's still an issue. You can see the potential for higher rate hikes, and I think that's very much, I think that was a given. I now want to move on actually to a paper that was published by the Fed this month that most people haven't even seen, called Tokenization, Overview and Financial Stability Implications. If we go over to the actual paper that we'll leave a link to in the description, make sure you guys go and check out allincrypto.com, because we will do a full write-up on this, a breakdown, a summary, including the charts that they give, etc., etc. But just to read the abstract very quickly, it says, in this paper, we outline tokenization, which is a new and rapidly growing financial innovation in crypto asset markets. And we discuss potential benefits and financial stability implications. Tokenization refers to the process of constructing digital representations, crypto tokens, for non-crypto assets, reference assets. As we discuss below, tokenization creates interconnections between the digital asset ecosystem and the traditional financial system. At sufficient scale, tokenized assets could transmit volatility from crypto asset markets to markets for the crypto tokens reference asset. The tokenization of everything, ladies and gentlemen, is here. This was from JP Morgan. I posted this over on my Twitter. If you guys aren't following me on Twitter, guys, head over to @realallincrypto.com. We drop so much information on Twitter. This was from JP Morgan that I saw earlier. The digitalization of trade is underway in the UK. You're at this inflection point, and this is our Twitter, guys, constantly publishing so much stuff. You're at this kind of inflection point for the world, for markets. Every single thing is going to be tokenized. And the reason being is because it makes markets simply more efficient. Yesterday, you actually had Larry Fink, who's here, attending Sergey Nazarov's speech about Chainlink and CCIP. We have been championing Link since 2018 when it hit the market. And right now, we're championing it once more. We're seeing a little bit of dollar strength coming at the moment. It's going to be interesting to see how that works out. But this is Chainlink, and it has been now consolidating for 500 days in this range. We'll do a full video on the release schedule, which I think puts people off Chainlink. But you see when this sucker breaks, oh my goodness, I want to have my bags packed for when that takes place. The last little thing I think I want to leave you guys on is a clip of Gensler actually talking about regulations again. He's going to be a bee in our bonnet, unfortunately, until there's some sort of clarity here. I spoke with a guy called Jesse Whiteside yesterday about Hedera, and actually all companies right now are looking to integrate DLT, distributed ledger technology. The only thing stopping them is regulations. That's the only. Once regulation approval is done, the floodgates open, and it's full send. Quite literally. Let's play this clip of Gensler, and then I'm going to love and leave you.
The securities laws apply to crypto security tokens, and there's nothing incompatible with those tokens with the securities laws. Investors still benefit from disclosure, and investors get to choose based on that disclosure. Investors benefit from laws against fraud and manipulation and other conflicts in the markets. And we've just seen so many people hurt and lost their money, hoping for a better future. And there's so many hucksters and fraudsters in this field.
Do you know, I don't like Gary Gensler one bit, but I do agree with him that a lot of people have been hurt, including a personal friend of mine that just had a MetaMask wipe for 100K. You know, literally last week, around about the same time Mark Cuban did. So many people have been hurt by this space. And how do we sort of, you know, how can I don't know. You know, I do genuinely think that there's a lot of people that's been hurt. I've invested in many pump and dumps over my years and just outright scams. And seen so many of them. You know, I had a lot of friends that were into BitConnect. But I think this is a part of, you know, any technological revolution, and I don't think it makes it right, and I don't think it offers any kind of solitude or condolences to people that have been hurt by this space. And it's weird that I find myself agreeing with Gary in the sense that a lot of people have been hurt in the pursuit of trying to better their lives, and I do genuinely feel, including myself, you know, sorry about that. But this is a part of any technological revolution. You've got to be in it to win it. And ultimately, you know, there is going to be lives changed with what's coming. Guys, I'm going to love and leave you on that note. Hopefully you've enjoyed the content. If you have a like, comment is always appreciated. Share this content around, guys. You don't get any sort of quality content like this on YouTube at all. The caliber and the bar is set very low. And on that note, I'm going to love and leave you. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next.